Good afternoon and welcome to Markets Today. I'm your host, Mbitha Mwema. It's another lovely afternoon here in Nairobi and we are looking at what was happening on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Over and above that, we will be trying to understand what is the strategy going forward and what do you need to be looking out for, whether for your personal investing goals or your corporate investing goals. That's a conversation that we will be having later on in studio. I will invite the guest. But before we get there, let's take a look at the headlines and as well as what was happening on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The parameters are coming up, but by virtue of an overview, turnover was actually up 45% day on day to close the day at 769 million shillings. Let's take a look at what was happening to the indices as well as the top movers and gainers. On the indices, the all-share index was up a percentage point to close the day at 154.84 points, whereas the NSE 20 share lost a bit of ground yesterday, down 59 basis points to close the day at 1,874.37. NSE 25 share gained a little bit, up 17 percentage points to close the day at 3,429.89 points. Let's see what was happening by virtue of turnover and who the top movers were for the day. As you can see there, we have been tracking the turnover on a day-to-day basis. This information is brought to you courtesy of Harvest, which is part of the Metropole Group TV station and also part of the Metropole Group, and bringing us information on research and insights when it comes to the capital markets. Yesterday, as you can see there on the chart, the turnover was up 45 percentage points to 769 million shillings for the day. The foreign investors were a bit on the same side in terms of buy and sales over the day. There were slightly net sellers, but the percentage points were more or less the same. This is almost the fifth day that we are seeing the foreigners becoming slightly net sellers over the day, and we've been seeing a bit of profit coming through Safaricom as a stock. Let's take a look at what was happening on Safaricom as well as other blue chip counters, and just to understand who the top movers were by virtue of turnover. Safaricom did dominate its trades yesterday and it closed the day at 35.55 shillings for a cumulative turnover of 371 million. A bit of profit taking continuing across this stock, and all the analysts that we've spoken to are neutral at this point in time, with the expectation cutting across board of a lower price point as investors both local and foreign take profit on this particular stock. Equity Group has been a surprise gainer and it is now closing at 37.25. Yesterday, 5.8 million shares traded for a cumulative turnover of 216 million. There has been some interesting uptake in terms of Equity Group, with the investor sentiment leaning towards a recovery post-COVID-19. Of the banks in Kenya, Equity Group is deemed to be one of the banks that will show a very robust recovery season once we get into the reporting cycle, at least over the next 18 to 24 months. KCB Group was muted yesterday, closing the day at 35.7. For 3 million shares were traded, a cumulative turnover of 115 million. We did see Stanbic Bank top the charts as well yesterday with a surprise move of 360,000 shares traded at a price of 79 shillings per share. And also ABSA, we also saw a bit of interest there, 2.5 million shares traded over the day for a cumulative turnover of 22.25 million shillings over the day. Let's take a look at who are the top movers by virtue of volume. Safaricom again topping the charts, 10.4 million shares traded. Equity Group 5.8 million shares, KCB Group so 3.247 million shares traded, ABSA 2.5 million shares, and Kenya Power 423.4 thousand shares traded. Who are the top gainers for the day and who are the top losers? Let's take a look at that data coming up on your screen. The top gainers again dominated by the small caps. Olympia Capital up 9 percentage points to close the day at 2.4 shillings per share. Home Africa up 8.33 percentage points to close the day at 39 cents. Everready was also up there, gaining 7 percentage points to close the day at 1.1. Flame Tree also a bit of traction there, up 5.47 percentage points to close the day at 1.35. And Express up 5.4 percentage points to close the day at 3.9. The top losers over the day, we also saw a bit of downward movement across some of the small caps, but also the middle capitalized companies were also up there. Standard Group, a local media company, lost ground yesterday, 7.32 percentage points to be precise, to close the day at 19 shillings per share. Sanlam lost 6.75 percentage points to close the day at 11.75. Kenya Power, again, a trajectory that we have been seeing for the last weeks on end. ASISO up one day, down the next day. Yesterday, it was down 4.35 percentage points to close the day at 1.54 shillings per share. It's one of those penny stocks that retail investors like to put their money into, trying to ride the wave, but it's always kind of acts against you if you're not too sure what's happening there, because it's up one day, down the next. Nairobi Business Ventures was the top gainer in the previous session, but yesterday it did lose a bit of ground, down 3.89 percentage points to 5.44 shillings per share, and Crown Points down 3.87 to 38.45 shillings per share. Now, let's take a break. When we come back, this particular week we have been talking about the investment pieces when it comes to looking at Kenya. In studio, we will be joined by the Chief Executive Officer of Vasili Africa, Rose Elangari. She will be talking to us about investment trends for the upcoming year. But I want to hear your views, your thoughts, as well as your sentiments. Our SMS line is 20146, or you could reach out to us at Metropole TV on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or alternatively, you could reach out to me, that's at Mbithe Mwema on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. What I want to hear is this: what is your investment goal for this year? If this year is too long of a period, what is your investment goal target for the next month? It's the month of February. It's a month when people celebrate love. How about you show some love to your money and investments and give us a shout? Tell us, what kind of returns are you looking forward to getting this month? And also ask us some questions. I'm sure Rose will be more than happy to be able to answer these questions as we get into a one-on-one with her right after the break. See you shortly.